The Simpsons has been airing constantly since 1989 with no end in sight. It's gone through 5 presidencies, 7 gaming generations, saw the birth of the internet, saw superhero movies get bad and become good again, and has been bought by Disney. It's been so long that it's been around for an entire generation. Even Bart back in 1989 would be older than the Homer of today. There were kids watching it back in 1990 that now have kids of their own almost in 2020. The show is known for having Halloween specials every year. There's a Treehouse of Horror special every October or November, each having about 3 stories. However, we don't really talk about the Christmas specials as much. Maybe it's because there's about half of them compared to the Halloween episodes, or maybe it's just because people only watch them during the holidays, or maybe it's because a lot of people just haven't seen them all. The show itself has 15 Christmas episodes. That's almost a full season. It's odd as the show started with a Christmas special. I've decided I'm going to look at all of them. What episodes have the best stories, jokes, animation, and those feel-good moments that you can only get away with during Christmas, because it's just so mopey. And because of Disney engulfing everything, I was able to watch all the episodes on there. So let's look at the Simpsons Christmas episodes and rank them. The Fight Before Christmas. This was the second anthology episode. It's sort of like a Treehouse or horror episode, but without the gore or comedy. The episodes start with Bart trying to kill Santa because he never got a dirt bike he wanted. He then goes on a Polar Express driven by Otto because they still think pot jokes are funny. And at the North Pole he meets Krusty Claus, who tells him that he's broke but it's all a lie and Bart falls for it. That's about it. The second story is about Lisa complaining about a Christmas tree. In this story in the 40s, where Marge is in World War II because Homer is too fat, yeah, I guess that's a little funny. Lisa hates this tree because her mom was drafted when getting one. She likes it when the tree caretaker makes it look like Marge. This is probably the best of the shorts, but it's Lisa's sister, so that makes it pretty bad. We then get a short with Marge and Martha Stewart, for some reason, decorating the house. It's as boring as it sounds. The last short is Maggie's dream with puppets of the family. It's probably the most creative, but Katy Perry ruins it by wearing a god-awful dress and kissing Moe. While the episode has some nice moments, it's just unfunny, boring, and dull. The White Christmas Blues. In this episode, Springfield is the only town in America with snow on the ground. Sorry, Alaska. So the town gets a lot of tourists for those who want to go and see it. Because all the hotels are filled, Marge lets the house be a bed and breakfast. But the tourists don't like it that much, leaving Marge to be a bad host. Things aren't better with Bart and Lisa, as Lisa gets Bart a book for Christmas. Bart hates it so much that he burns it, and then she gets him a Nook instead. You know who did this better? Drake and Josh. They had an episode like this, but it was about spring break instead. It was actually funny and had some great moments. Here, not so much. Then there's Bart. He doesn't even feel bad about what he did. Bart has done some bad things in the past, but he would usually feel guilty if he did something like this. Burning Lisa's presents? No, that's not him. Tis the 30th season. The Simpsons kids want a smart TV, but the family can't afford it. Marge tries to get them on deal at a Walmart-like place until Gil ruins it by having Marge sacrifice herself so he can get a stuffed animal for his granddaughter, which he sells. God, I hate him. The kids then want to give Marge a big present, so they take her on vacation to Florida. This doesn't really go anywhere. It's just about them having a lousy time and lying about it. It's also just weird. They get refunded because the hotel manager gets scared of some robots of the vice presidents. What? Why is she scared of that? They don't even explain it. What does that have to do with anything? In the end, the kids get the TV, so yay, I guess. The Simpsons Christmas Stories. Like the other episode, this is like a Treehouse of Horror episode as it's an Anna Ollie episode. When Lovegood can't make it due to a train wreck, Ned takes over only to faint over his cut finger. Homer, being the attention whore he is, takes over and gives his tale on the birth of Jesus. Mary, Marge, and Joseph, Homer, finds out that she is pregnant with a baby despite being a virgin, and he will be the son of God. The three wise men want to give him gifts, but Harold wants them instead. Harold tries to kill him, but Joseph saves him by rolling a tree to them and making them honest men and making the first Christmas tree. It's an okay start. Baby Bart Jesus is cute, and Homer telling the people that baby Jesus is regular Jesus are all the same is kind of funny. The second story starts with Grandpa saying that he hates Santa Claus. Grandpa also wants to get back at him for leaving him and Burns on an island during World War II. Abe's brother, Cyrus, is shot down, making him believe he's dead. Burns tries to steal all for himself when Santa is there, but Abe stops him. Santa promises to come back, but never does. When Santa comes down the chimney, he tells Abe that he meant to come back and apologizes for it. Cyrus is also alive and living in Tahiti. We don't really see his brother, I think, before or after this, so I'm not really sure if he's canon or not. But it's okay, I suppose. The funniest part was when the ending, when Cyrus tells Abe that he has 15 wives. Abe thinks that's a lot of sex, and Cyrus tells him they're wives, not girlfriends. Okay, yeah, that was pretty funny. The last story has Moe trying to kill himself, done with public domain nutcracker music, and Homer and Marge gift exchanging. Marge gives her gift to him, which turns out to be a present that he's supposed to go and give to her. I suppose it was supposed to be sweet, but it just shows how selfish Homer is. Overall, a bland episode, but not bad. Kill Gil 1 and 2. I hate Gil. He's a terrible character. He's a loser. He's a moron. He's a gnat. He's anything that's negative. In this episode, Gil loses his job and he gives Lisa a toy that's sold out even though it was meant for his boss's kid. Marge feels guilty and lets him stay for a day, or two, or a month, or almost a year. After he does leave, does he pay them back? Nope. Because we need Marge to go and call him out for his loser butt that he is. A lot of the episode isn't even on Christmas, but around the other parts of the year. Homer is also annoying as well. If he doesn't like Gil, throw him out. This episode makes me think twice that letting people stay over for the holidays. Really, the only thing that saves it is Marge going over at Gil and a few funny moments here and there, but other than that, this episode can be pretty annoying. Tis the 15th season. This is the first time they make a pun out of that. We'll be getting a Tis the 45th season as well? It's Christmas time again, and it's the season of giving, unless you're Homer. He gives Lenny a cheap gift of mint, and Homer gets a DVD player from him, and a rare baseball card from Mr. Burns. The card is worth a lot of money, and rather than spend it on his family, he buys a talking astrolabe for himself instead. Homer finally, astonishingly, sees how selfish he is and decides to be more selfish. But Ned feels like he's being outshined and buys everyone a present. Homer steals them, and then Lisa tells him that she thinks Christmas will be better without them, and the town gets angry, but then he gives them back, so... Merry Christmas? 1. We know Homer will return to his own self. He always does. 2. I think this little battle between Ned and Homer and Ned's kindness is a little annoying. I also think Lisa deserves some of the blame as well. She gave Homer the idea, and she gets mad when her gifts are gone. Hypocrite? We get a little parody of the Grinch, that's okay, and there are funny moments. The scene where it turns out the star is actually a flare from Han's moment is funny, but other than that, this episode is just okay. The Grift of the Magi. This episode starts off weirdly, with having about 3 different plots for an episode. First, it looks like the episode's going to be about Bart in a wheelchair after he breaks his butt on a bowling ball while wearing a dress. It makes more sense if you watch it. We would see Bart be bullied and go through the troubles of being disabled. The school builds a cheap, weird-looking ramp for Bart with the help of Fat Tony, only for Bart to be back to normal. So, that's gone. Now what? Well, the ramp breaks, so it looks like the plot will be about the school owning Fat Tony, right? That is over in seconds, though, as Skinner pays them. The plot then jumps to how all the teachers have been fired due to the school being broke and hiring new people. Later, a new toy named Funzo comes out and becomes a fad. Lisa realizes she gave the idea to them. Funzo doesn't like competition, so Homer, Bart, and Lisa need to save the day by stealing them. The Funzo seems to be a parody of Furby, which was really big at the time. And while I don't think it destroyed other toys, I'm sure it did hurt the competition. We get a nice guest star from Gary Coleman, who is hired as a security guard. Like I said, I hate how the episode starts off with 3 plots. The broken butt thing and the poor school plot both could have been their own episodes. The creators agree with the commercialization of Christmas is both good and bad, which I guess is true? Yeah, sort of. Some funny moments include the beginning of the episode where Milhouse is chased by a sun ray and he goes inside to go and get away from it, and the boys saying they're drunk for wearing dresses. It has some nice moments, but not enough to escape from Beyond 10. The Nightmare After Christmas. Krusty is spending the holidays with his daughter Sophie, who, I think, has aged for some reason. That's weird. He gets crushed by a machine and has to go to the hospital. Krusty, who is Jewish, is shocked to find out that Sophie is Christian. Feeling this might hurt them, he decides he's going to convert when Lovejoy confronts him as the church is having attendance problems. Sophie is happy to hear it as this might help them. While getting baptized, Krusty falls in the river and has a hallucination where his father is Olaf from Frozen and his agent is Sev. Because Frozen, popular, I guess. After talking with his dad and being saved by Lovejoy, Krusty decided to stay Jewish. I do kind of hate how they make Sophie. I don't see why she can spend time with her dad during Christmas and celebrate Hanukkah. They just kind of make her unlikable here. Granted, it has more to do with him being in the show business than his religion, but still. The funniest moments are probably with Maggie as she is scared by this gnome in your home toy, which parodies Elf on a Shelf. It's funny, at times, cute, and saves the episode a bit. The Krusty and Sophie stuff is dull, and they really could have handled it better. She of Little Faith. After the church gets burned down by a rocket that the Simpsons launched, they need money to repair it. They get help from Mr. Burns, but the church has turned it more into a business, and the citizens fall for it. Lisa decides to leave the church, but not God. She can't find a new church until she finally finds Buddhism. With help from Lenny, Carl, and Richard Gere for some reason, Lisa starts to convert. Marge is against it, while the other Simpsons are rather indifferent, but still want her to come back. They try to give her a pony, which is definitely not Ralph and Millhouse. Baking cookies, but all the attempts don't work. Lisa runs away from home, but Richard tells her about being a Buddhist is about being open to Christmas and all religions. Lisa returns home by celebrating Christmas and telling she's still a Buddhist but will still go to church otherwise. Something I hate is how they treat this whole thing. I hate how they make everyone, especially Marge, who's against it. They sort of make it like that Christians don't like anyone different from them and Buddhists are all the great people. It's not in your face, but it seems like it's slightly there. I kinda also hate how Lisa blames the church rather than Burns. It is kinda good to go and see Lisa explore and see some of the other characters' faith as well. Not the greatest, but it does have some faith to it. Skinner's Sense of Snow. This is probably the least Christmas episode they ever had. It feels more like a winter episode, actually. But, according to Wikipedia and the Simpsons Wiki, it's a Christmas episode, so I have to review it. It's snowing in Springfield, but the school is still open, much to the kids' dismay. Skinner does allow them to watch a movie for the day, but the movie sucks so much that the DVD burns. Things take a turn for the worse when it turns out that everyone is snowed in and they realize they're going to miss Christmas. Skinner won't allow them to leave, so the kids start to get reckless until they take over. Meanwhile, Homer and Ned decide to save the day together. With Ned's car and roof, they make a homemade snowplow, even though Ned claims that Homer used to be Mr. Plow. Who? Sorry, Ned. I think that snowstorm has messed up your brain. Who's Mr. Plow? That's Mr. Plow, that's my name. That name again is Mr. Plow. They get trapped in the car and it fills up with gas, but the school's pet hamster saves them and everyone gets home happy when salt melts the snow. As said before, it feels more like a winter episode with Christmas only mentioned. There's really no trees, presents, or anything related to that. I like episodes with Bart and Skinner though. They usually turn out good. I like Bart's report on how he said he's proud of being an underachiever and he wonders how old it is. We've seen episodes where the kids take over before, but I do think it works out well here with Skinner and Willie are being overwhelmed and the kids are turning crazy. I do hate how Homer is a jerk-ass to Ned though. Yes, he's always been, but it gets worse and worse and worse. I would like Ned to see go and tear off his roof instead. It's still a nice episode, brought to us by our good friend, sodium chloride.
Actually, dude, it's salt.
That's what I said, sodium chloride.
Dude, that would be salt.
Miracle on Evergreen Terrace. In this special, Bart is so eager to see his presents, he wakes himself by drinking a lot of water to go to the bathroom. He plays with a fire truck, but he accidentally lights a fire and burns down the tree along with all the presents. He makes up the story that they were robbed, which leads to the citizens giving them their money. Bart comes clean though, so the people take all the Simpsons stuff, leaving them only a dirty old washcloth. This episode had plenty of great moments like Lisa trying to strangle Bart even though her hands are too small. The two orphans give Bart their money. They're orphans, Bart. Why would you do that? Why? We have this scene where the family buys a new car only for it to explode moments later. We even get Ned getting his stuff again. Way to go, Ned. I do hate how the entire family is punished for what Bart did though. Even though it was an accident and he didn't have the heart to admit it, but it was still technically his fault and everyone else didn't need to get blamed for it. So yeah, that stunk, but at least the washcloth doesn't talk like Mose. I Won't Be Home for Christmas. Oh, great. Another marriage crisis episode. And the Christmas one at that. Well, actually, this one is good. Homer is supposed to get home early for Christmas, but he crashes the car, and Moe convinces him to have a few drinks before he goes home. When he returns late after having his beer, Marge kicks him out. Homer wanders around sad and comes across a mall. There he meets Ned and has a nice little talk with him. Even though Ned has a lot of troubles, he still is able to go and get his life around. Mo tells the Simpsons what happens and they go over to find him. Homer and Marge make up and share a nice Christmas together. This is a sweet episode. As I said, I like the moment with Ned and Homer. No insults to each other and it's not in-your-face mushy. It's a very good moment. The animation is nice too. Pretty snow on the ground and colors. We get funny moments like the loser people in the movie theater. Yes, we get a scene with Gil that I like. Mo kissing Marge is kinda funny, but it gets creepy the second time. What the hell is wrong with him? Marge's expression says it all. It's nice to get a Christmas episode like this in modern Simpsons and wish we can get more like it. Simpsons roasting on an open fire. Here it is, folks. The very first episode. It aired December 17th, 1989. 30 years ago today, as I write this actually. Which reminds me, I should really hurry this up. In the very first Simpsons episode, the family is attending an assembly at school. We get an interesting display from a naked Lisa, and Bart gets in trouble singing the classic. When Bart takes away the Christmas bonuses, it looks like the money that they say will have to save Christmas. But Bart gets a tattoo which has to be removed and takes away that money too. Homer doesn't know how he'll give his family a good Christmas and doesn't want to tell them. He gets his job as a mall Santa and tells Bart the truth. When that pays little, he spends the last of it at a dog show and a dog named Santa's Little Helper, thinking it's a sign. Lo and behold, the dog sucks and he loses. The owner abandons the dog and Simpsons adopt him. Homer and Bart return home with Santa's Little Helper, tells the truth, but the dog cheers them up and they have a good Christmas together. This is a classic episode. We get introduced to fan favorites like Ned, Moe, Skinner. Ned even says Xmas. It's safe to say this was pre-extreme Christian Ned. One of my favorite scenes in this episode is when Homer bangs on his head and says, "Ho ho go!" It's also weird as everyone acts different. Lisa acts like a kid and Homer is reasonably smart. Well, not smart, but smarter than he would be. It's weird that this episode came out the same year as Christmas Vacation, which had a similar plot. It's a classic episode that started a legacy. Marge Be Not Proud. Just 6 years after the first Christmas episode, this was made. Bart wants a game called Bone Storm, but Marge refuses to get it for him because it's too violent and of its price. This leads to Bart to steal the game, but is caught by security and is told not to come back. He's able to fool his parents, but they go to the same store for Christmas pictures and the security man sees Bart again and they find out. Marge isn't sure what to really think and if she can really trust Bart anymore and treat him the same way. Bart then returns to the store once more. Marge thinks he's shoplifted again, but he shows her a picture that he paid for the Christmas present. He gets his mother's love back and gets a golfing game in exchange. Not what he really wanted, but he still thanks her anyway. This is a very sweet episode. You just hate how Marge gives him no marshmallows or make snowmen with him, but you know he kinda deserves it. But it's all the bad stuff that makes you want Bart to win and get her love back. There are neat cameos from Mario and Sonic and a few funny jokes like the teapot scene. I do hate Milhouse's episode as he acts like a jerk. Bart and Marge episodes usually turn out great, and this is no exception. The Holidays of Futures Past. There have been plenty of future episodes, but this one is by one of the best, if not the best. In this episode that takes place 30 years into the future, Bart is now a divorced father with 2 sons. Lisa is married to Milhouse with her own daughter, and Maggie is a singer who is pregnant with an unknown father, and Homer and Marge are now old. Both Bart and Lisa don't feel like they're connecting to their kids. Bart has trouble with his sons due to being a bit of a deadbeat, and Lisa feels like her daughter is rebelling against her. They ask for their parents' help to get their love again. Meanwhile, Maggie is trying to get home with a baby in her. This episode is a lot of fun. I like seeing the family interact like this. The grandkids are neat, and I wish they were Canyon. The picture scene at the beginning is one of my favorite parts. It's always fun to watch. I think I would rather see Lisa married to Nelson, but what are you going to do? Look, even Grandpa's alive. Even Mr. Burns. There are a few lame future jokes like Snake being a cyborg, but most of them still work. We get a sweet talk with Bart and Lisa as well. This episode was written as a possible series final, as the staff didn't know if the show would be renewed or not. It's been 8 years and the show is still going on, so we all know that didn't happen. But it would have been a great ending to the series, and it would have been a tough act to follow. And it's going to be a tough act to follow when they do end the series. Because of that, it's my favorite Simpsons Christmas episode. And that's my list. All the Simpsons Christmas episodes. There is still the newest episode, Bobby It's Cold Outside, but I don't have a way to see it yet, so I had to go and leave it out. I read about it though, so from what I at least did read, I would probably put it in between Kill Gil and 'Tis the 30th Season for number 11, but that's just without seeing it, so I'm not 100% sure. But it's crazy that there are almost 20 Christmas episodes alone. Then again, there are over 30 Halloween episodes. Some are bad, some are good, and some are excellent. This series started with a Christmas episode, and it seems making a good one is mandatory. Who knows how much more there will be, but as long as The Simpsons is still going, we'll be getting more Christmas episodes to see.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it was
Like a light bulb.
Marge of the other reindeer. Used to laugh and call him names.
Like Mazola.
They never let poor Rudolph join in a reindeer game.
Like strip poker.
I'm warning you
One
to
foggy Christmas Eve,
Santa came to say,
Take it, Homer.
Rudolph, get your nose over here so you can guide my sleigh today.
Oh, Homer.
Then
and all the reindeer loved him, and they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed